Hey, hunting family, you are tuning into the Tracks and Tackle podcast, brought to you by Menser Outdoors.
Hey there, hunting family. Welcome back to another episode of Tracks and Tackle. Today, it's going to be just me flying solo. So I figured we'd dive right into one of my favorite topics. It's going to be bowhunting the rut. We are in November, and it's that time of year. Been taking it a little bit easy in October because I've got my sights set on a target buck. This November, I'm going to get after him pretty solidly, and so it's that time. It's November, pre-rut activities already happening. We're starting to see different movement on camera. I'm going to start spending a lot of time in the woods. So just hopping on here to do a quick recording. We haven't been checking in a whole lot through October, but now that it's November, I know you guys are out there doing the same thing that I'm doing. The rut's when the woods comes alive, right? Bucks are going to be moving, opportunities are going to change, happens in a heartbeat. So for this episode, I plan on also giving you a little update on how my season's been going so far, what's been working, what hasn't been, any lessons that I learned along the way. And so whether you've filled your tags already or you're still waiting for that perfect moment, there's always going to be something new to discover this time of the year. Grab a beer, grab a coffee, settle in, let's get into it. So, today's episode, we're going to be talking about bowhunting the rut and giving you a little bit of a season update. So, that's the purpose of what we're going to be doing today. It's kind of different. Our schedules are real busy, and it's hard to get everybody lined up at the same time. So, haven't recorded the past couple of weeks, but I thought it would be irresponsible of us to not get an update out to you guys here for you and the hunting family that do follow and sort of follow our storyline and our journey of the different things that we're doing. We're doing a pretty good job at when we go out, at least on a weekly basis. We're trying to get some sort of a video out on YouTube. Even if we don't have success, we're trying to document that journey and give updates like that. So today I'm hopping on here myself, and it's that time of year. So I'm going to get super busy, and I wanted to just carve out a little bit of time, do a pre-recording so that we would have a podcast to drop out here for you guys. And ultimately, my season hasn't been so bad. Looking now at the rut, it's going to get the change from just going out and hunting to hunting the rut is, I think, what we talk about all year long. I was just thinking about this earlier. It wasn't that long ago. It was January. I was sitting down in my garage. We were doing European mounts, and we were lamenting like, oh, deer season's over. The weather's turned cold. What can we do? What are we doing? What can we get into? And we're just trying to come up with new ideas, the things that we can tear into. But we ultimately, everything we do all year long as bow hunters leads up to this time of year. And, the purpose really is the magic of the rut. It's the season where deer change their behavior. So I go out and I'm a meat hunter. And so I went out uncharacteristically on the first week of the year. I scored myself a doe. I've got, meat in the freezer. In fact, I got meat. I'm making jerky right now. while I'm recording, I've got the dehydrator going, and we're making up some jerky. So had some early season success, and I've tried to take it a little bit easy because I could go out, and if a little buck or a decent buck comes out in front of me, I might take that opportunity. But we've been scouting all year long. And as we've been scouting all year long, I've been watching some pretty nice shooter rack buck. And there's one in particular, he's got some identifiers that I'm after. I might pass on a buck this year if I don't get this guy, which is not it's not the way that I usually hunt because I am a meat hunter. But I really would like to see this guy. He's not daylighting yet, but the rut changes everything, right? It changes from pre-rut to peak rut to post-rut. We have different strategies and tactics that we try to get after that. But what I am seeing on camera right now is an increase in buck activity. We've got scrapes, we've got rubs, we've got some, what I would say probably, 115, 120, 130-inch bucks starting to move just after dark and chasing the does around. So why is the rut a prime time for bow hunters? Well, it's increasing that deer movement during daylight hours. Those bucks that are moving just before daylight and just after dark are starting to move different times throughout the day now because they're trying to scent check where the does are, and they're trying to identify a suitable mate so that they can pass on their lineage. Bucks are becoming a little bit less cautious and a little bit more reckless. And so as a bow hunter, you can capitalize on that. And that's the magic of the rut. Personal excitement for being in the woods during the rut, it's a whole different world out there. I have sat and I've seen buck just tearing through the woods chasing doe. There's no way with a bow that you're ever going to get a shot off at it, but their brain is just fixated on trailing the doe that they're on and getting them locked down. So it's a really cool time. If you've never experienced that, it's a great time to be out in the woods. And if any of you guys that are listening to us or follow us, I'm pretty sure you know exactly what I'm talking about. So I won't belabor the point. But as I mentioned earlier, I've had some success earlier in the year. I've never killed a deer on opening day. And I think in our last episode, I gave you the breakdown of how that all happened. But I had 3 doe come out. I picked my doe. I got one on opening day. So I got meat in the freezer. And I've been sort of taking October with my feet up, not really put a whole lot of time out in the woods, because I am chasing that target buck, and we'll see how that plays out. I could come back next week and record and tell you guys I shot, had an opportunity comes in. Like, we'll see when I'm in the stand, what opportunities present themselves. I'll make that decision when it happens. But, as far as bucks, I haven't had any real encounters on opening day. I had a small basket rack come across an open field, and frankly, I didn't see him until he was completely across the field. I couldn't even get him on camera. Saw him close enough that he was a small, 6 point probably, but I'd imagine he's probably a 2-year deer and would be good eating, this year, next year. And then a week or so ago, I was out with the Hollywood horse, and we were out in this patch of woods, and we had a little spike coming through. So the smaller deer are moving during daylight. It's starting to get dark earlier. Those bigger deer are going to start moving because of the time of year it is. So haven't had a whole lot of buck encounters so far this year, but we've been scouting all season long, and we know the seasonal patterns that to expect. So I know where they're moving. It's just a matter of being at the right place at the right time. So my strategy literally is to go deep into the woods. I've got a spot picked out. I'm going to be setting up a stand in a new location. I've got a climber that I take out with me, and I've got it positioned over a really nice licking branch and community it's like the community town hall, where everybody's coming and dropping their scent. And so there's a community scrape there. Doe are showing up, bucks are showing up of different shapes and sizes. I may hunt out of that a little bit, but I've got a secondary spot deep in the mountain where I have intentions of going. We'll see if I make it out there or not, because it's a long haul to get there. But I just purchased I've been putting off for a couple of years. I layer up because I have to hike deep into the woods. And so I wear multiple layers when I go out, and, usually sweating and perspiring a little bit until I get to my location where my stand is. And then I'll layer up throughout the day. But, when temperature starts to turn cold and the winds picks up and you're sweating and you get chilled pretty quick. And so, like, staying warm for those all day sits, I've been telling myself for the last 5 or 6 years, I need to just invest in a nice warm coat. Well, just did it, just made the purchase, got myself a really heavy duty parka type silent coat from Cabela's. I'll let you guys know how it works out probably in one of my next videos that we put out. But I'm intending on going deep into the woods. I got the gear. I got a small hang-on stand that I plan on taking out. I'm going to set up, and there's great sign where I have some pins dropped where we did some shed hunting earlier this year, and it's going to take me a little while to get in there and get to it, but once I'm there for all day, and I'm going to do some all-day sits and see if during the rut I get a shot at this target buck that I'm after. So, missed opportunities. I can't sit here and say we've had missed opportunities this year so far. It's been going pretty good. I'll let Brady tell you about that, whenever he jumps on the podcast next. He's had some opportunities and hasn't punched his tag yet, but I don't want to tell his stories for him. The weather's been really warm. It's November right now, and it's literally 70 plus degrees. So that's kind of a challenge for buck hunters. We want that cold snap to come through. And the hunting pressure always increases from the beginning of bow season towards the end of bow season, because you get more hunters, you get muzzleloader hunters, you get, here in Pennsylvania, you get, there was a season here a week or two ago where the junior hunters could go out and the senior hunters can go out and take a gun and take a doe. And so those are the sort of things that come into play as a factor when we are embracing a bow hunt. But it happens every year. You're going to get a little bit more pressure. And so that's sort of like the update on where we are this season so long. I have every intention of going up to hunting camp and spending a week or so there. Every weekend in November, I plan on being at camp through the end of archery season, and I've taken a couple of my final vacation days to do some extended hunting. So I'm looking to get up there as often as I can throughout the rest of the season to increase my chances, because I took October really, really light and easy. So my strategy, like I said, we've been scouting all season long. We've got cameras set up. My focus is travel corridors, not so much pinch points, but know where the doe are bedding, know where those pinch points are. We got some rocky terrain where we're at, so you can tell where the bucks are willing to go and where they're not willing to go. A lot of great sign. Tactics that I use, I don't do a whole lot of rattling. I know some guys, rattle. I will grunt. I got a grunt tube that I deploy to use. But utilizing tools like that, you don't want to overdo it. But when the time's right, tickle the ivories a little bit, especially when you're looking at a larger, more mature buck. If they feel like another buck's encroaching on their territory, they will come. And I've got some really cool video footage from one of our cameras of nice 8-point. I would take him most seasons, just shredding up, a sapling. And so Mock scrapes do work. Like I said, I've got a climbing stand set up over a community scrape, and I'm seeing a lot of animal activity run through there. So that's kind of like my fallback position as far as the strategy. I personally have never hunted over decoys, when hunting whitetail. Where we're set up, I can't set up in a field or anything. It's all heavy big woods. So I don't know if you've ever used them or what your thoughts are, but drop a comment in the video chat, and we'd love to hear thoughts on decoy strategies. If it works, if it's beneficial, etc. But I think the big thing with hunting the rut is staying patient because we expect activity to happen, and this is where, if your back can take it, you want to get out and you would sit all day, because all day long you might have an opportunity at any moment, right? So there's an importance of focusing on persistence. It's kind of like a waiting game for us. Keep your spirits up when things don't go as planned, because there's a lot of downtime too. But for me, the hunt isn't about the success or the trophy. It's the smile on your face whenever you do have success. And I enjoy, like, I recharge every single time that I go out. I get long sits in the stand, and as long as I can stay warm, I'm happy as can be. And I'm looking really forward to taking out and testing this new jacket that I got, because it's going to keep me nice and toasty on those cold November days. Shot selection, this is one that gets me, because we practice all summer long with our bow. You want to make the perfect shot. You practice for the perfect shot, repetition over and over, months at a time. And then when the moment comes, anything can happen. So, I'm just going to remind everybody, stay disciplined with your shot placement, especially with the bow. I had an opportunity on opening day. I took a shot, and frankly, it was a bad shot. I connected. I hit the doe back. I harvested her. She didn't go far. It did the trick, but you hate to see a bad shot. So just stay disciplined with your shot placement, and it's important to ethically harvest your animal and track your wounded game. You want that animal to expire as quickly as possible, and you don't want to have to go on a long hunt, get the dog to track it or anything like that. So just take your time on those things, guys. That's kind of where I'm sitting on. Those are my thoughts on the rut. I'm excited about hunting November. I'm going to wrap up the conversation here. I want to encourage you guys to stay safe, be patient, all that stuff. The rut doesn't last forever. It's just for the short period of time in the fall, and it's time to get out there and make things happen. So one thing I did want to do is try to get some audience engagement. Being that I am doing this solo, we're starting to get different people chiming in on our videos, and we have return listeners on the podcast. So if you're listening to the podcast, there is an option for you to send us a text. And so I would encourage anybody that's listening, take a time. It's a new feature. I want to see how that works. We'd love to engage with people. So if you got questions, or just, shout out, hey, hunting family, I want to know what your thoughts are on hunting the rut. Use that, send us a text feature. I'll check that before we do our next episode and see if I can get you responses to those things. We do post these videos on YouTube at Menser Outdoors, and we also post them at Tracks and Tackle. You can find us on Rumble as well. So we got different audiences for different platforms. And so drop us a comment. I really am excited to hear and interact with different listeners and viewers. Most of you guys locally here that know us, you just shoot me a text or whatever, drop a comment. That helps us on the algorithm, and it does something for boosting the show and getting us more visibility. And we really want to foster this hunting family that we've been trying to build over the last year. So, as we're all getting geared up and wired up to go out and hunt November, I'm trying to pre-record this so that we can get out there and I can put my time into the tree stand and go after this target deer that I have on my list. I'm sure you have the same. But give me a little bit of feedback here, because I'd love to interact with the audience more than what we do. And so let me see. We've got a lot of different ways that you can contact us. You can always send us emails with questions or hunting stories to mensoutdoors@gmail.com. Like I said, YouTube, Rumble. We have multiple pages. We're on Instagram, Facebook, all the normal socials. We are on Camo Space. For you guys that are familiar with Camo Space, you can find us there at Menser Outdoors. Look us up we do the podcast through Buzzsprout. So Buzzsprout has a website with all of our links and to all of our episodes. And we're on a platform called Millions, which I'll put all the links to all these down in the description so you guys can find us. But give me a little bit of interaction, guys. I'd appreciate that. Always want to engage with you, especially when I don't have a co-host. I need somebody to talk to. So I've went on for a little bit here, guys. I'm excited about November. Thanks for tuning into this solo episode of Tracks and Tackle. Hopefully you found something useful to take with you into the woods this rut season. So stay sharp, stay patient, most of all, stay safe out there. Until next time, shoot straight and enjoy the journey.